Good morning. My name is Ray Whitmore. I'm with Manitoba Agriculture, and I'm talking today to Randy Eros of Seine River Shepherds in southeast Manitoba. We are situated on mixed land with open land, but it's close to wooded areas and riparian areas, which can be a corridor for predators. And the main predator here of concern is the coyote. This is a sheep operation, and for this interview, we're going to talk about using ElectroNet fencing. Randy, what worked well with the ElectroNet fencing, and was this practice easy to install?
Well, we've been using ElectroNet fencing for a long time, and so we're comfortable with how it's done. And once you learn how to install fence, it's quick and easy. We move our sheep every 4 or 5 days is our target, and we probably spend 3 hours, I would suggest, picking up and putting down the fence. So putting down new fence, picking up old fence, and being prepared for the next day. One of the things that we do is we do brush where we're going to put the fence down. This has been in for a few days, so it doesn't show so well, but we'll mow before we put the fence down. So we'll come through with either a riding mower if it's not too lush. If we're coming into things we haven't grazed for a long time, we'll run a brush hog and then put up the fence. So the fence, we use long stretches. There's probably, my son Mish set this up, there's probably 14 or 15 pieces of FlexiNet in this piece. And if you try and do that without preparing the ground, you're going to need some pretty powerful fencing.
Yeah.
We're running, in this case, it's a solar panel, solar fence.
Yeah.
So it's limited, and you can get some pretty powerful ones, and this one works well.
Yeah.
So I was just out for a walk this morning, just looking at the fence and making sure everything was still connected. You haven't had some wind blow it over or something happen.
So preparation can be important for an installation.
I'm going to say it's easy for everyone. We find that it works very well for us.
Thanks, Randy. What are the limitations for implementing this practice on your farm, and what would you do differently?
What are the limitations? Well, the limitations can be bush. If you're trying to set FlexiNet up in bush, it's going to be very limiting.
Yeah.
You're going to be catching it on stuff. So you have to be careful about that. You also need to make sure that you have power in it all the time.
Yes.
So having FlexiNet up and not powered is a bad idea. It's a bad idea certainly for the sheep. If they're in there, they'll learn to force it. Also for the predators.
Yes.
If they come to the idea that they can possibly do that. So there's, I think, limitations. I also think that the importance of livestock guardian dogs and fence together really matter. But I think the dogs matter a lot. Because,
Yes.
I mean, what happens is the predator, they're all canines.
Yes.
And these dogs, they're pissing on the corners.
Yes.
And the other dogs come over. If there was no, I mean, I've got border collies. My border collie could clear this fence in a heartbeat. Like
Yes.
it could,
Yes.
right? So you've got to think that a coyote could if it wanted to. What gets the coyote stopping and thinking and maybe touching the fence is that there is somebody inside.
Yeah.
And they know that.
They do. So what do you think that this best management practice was effective, and do you think it helped with predator mitigation?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, absolutely. It makes a huge difference. We have, and I think the important part of, one of the important things about FlexiNet is continuous. Don't leave gaps, because the predators will find it. So make sure that you don't rely on the small creek. We have a creek running through here, Don't rely on the creek to keep the coyotes out, because it won't.
It won't.
Yeah. So you really got to make sure that you have continuous and good jolts. We don't like to run it with less than 4,000 volts running through it on a test.
Okay.
Right. I mean, and again, that's going to vary. You get up in the morning and it's got heavy dew or rain.
Yes.
And
it's getting shorted out.
It's going to short it out and put some load on it. And as it sits longer in the same spot, and this is one of the other things that's an important management practice, if you set it up for a long time, if you think you can set up your FlexiNet and leave it for 12 days, it's going to grow into it. And the cumulative short, it'll be, it'll go like this. It'll go, I'm getting 5.8 on my, so I'm getting 5,800 volts through that, and then 56, and then
down,
57, and then it gets to 28, and then there's nothing.
Yes.
Because it's taken so much load on it.
So will this best management practice be part of your long-term predation management strategy?
Oh, absolutely. We couldn't do what we do without the fence and without the dogs.
The dogs. Thanks for mentioning that, because that's a very important factor. Is there anything else that you would like to tell us about this?
Well, I also want to talk about our compost pile and how we use it in terms of managing our compost.
Okay. We're at This is a compost pen with FlexiNet fencing, and I'm going to let Randy explain what he's doing here. Randy?
Yeah, so for our operation, this is a fencer that came with the program. And it's a good fencer, but it's not powerful enough for the big fields that we do, 14, 15 pieces. It's great for our compost pile. So we use this, we got a couple of pieces of FlexiNet around a compost pile. So this is how we deal with our deads on the farm. We compost them, and this allows us to not have a static site. So we'll move this compost site year to year and turn it over and have it active and move it. And using the FlexiNet, we get to do that. So it's very useful. This size of fence is great for that. This is putting out, well, we tested it, 6.9.
It's that
so
fence would bite anybody who touches it.
Yeah, so 6,900 volts coming out of that. So this is a really good use for this size of a fencer, and we find that this works very well. And again, if you have a compost pile, if you don't have it protected, it's really just a dining opportunity for predators.
It's an attractant. So I assume you would turn the Energizer off, lift up some of the FlexiNet, go in there with the tractor, flip it over, turn it, bring it back, bring the tractor out, reset up the fence, plug the Energizer in, and then it's protected.
Yep. Yeah. You just pick the fence right up. It's just 2 pieces.
Yeah.
It'll take you 10 minutes to pick it all up, and then you can work from either side of the track. So instead of trying to build a permanent compost that's kind of hard to work around,
yes,
in your bucket,
yes.
your pile, this is another option.
Well, this project evaluation of the ElectroNet fencing was done on 9 farms, and they found the following when they canvassed the producers. 100% of the producers agreed that it reduced predation. 89% had the fence stay upright at all times. 100% agreed that ElectroNet fencing saves livestock. 89% of the producers involved would replace the ElectroNet fencing. 80% agreed that livestock guardian dogs are necessary. You've already said that, Randy, and so have others. It's not good for cattle. They can lean over it, and it's much better for sheep, but you do have to be careful with horned sheep. Horned sheep can get tangled in it, and it can be problematic. So in closing, I would like to say that MBP, the MSA, and Manitoba Agriculture would like to thank you for participating in the pilot project. And for more information on the different techniques used, please go to the Manitoba Beef Producers website at mbbeef.ca. Thank you.
Thanks.